Hi everyone, it's Monica, and welcome back to Tailor-Made Cards for You. Many people have told me that they are intimidated by mixed media cards, so I thought I would go ahead and create one for you and break down the process. When you think of mixed media, all it is multiple mediums, and if you break it down step by step, hopefully it will be less intimidating and you guys will jump in and give it a try. I started out by taking a piece of heavy cardstock measuring 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I adhered some Tim Holtz tissue paper using perfect paper adhesive, also known as PPA. Any type of adhesive will work for this. You could easily use Mod Podge or some collage medium. Now once the paper was adhered, I took my tonic scissors and I trimmed off the excess. It doesn't have to be completely dry because you are going to be adding some more mixed medium along the way, but it's a good idea to make sure that it's not going to move on you when you start to cut away the excess paper. Now you're going to want to put those scraps aside for another day because those are perfect pieces to add for other cards when you're not completely using it as a backing. You can easily cut those up, tear those up, anything to create some sort of background, and those scraps will work perfectly for that. Now using some white acrylic gesso, I am going to paint over my background to mute it just a bit. I do want the words to be part of the background, but I don't want it to take over. I'm going to come in with some rubber stamps, and I'm going to want my focal points to be the stamps and not necessarily the background. Once I have a nice layer, I am going to take a wet wipe and just dab some of the excess off because again, I don't want to completely cover the words, I just want to mute the background just a bit. The cardstock that I'm using to adhere my base is from Cardstock, and it is a heavy cardstock. Keep in mind when you are working with mixed media products, it is going to create some weight to your card, so you want to make sure that you do start out with heavy quality cardstock. Now I don't have very many wooden rubber stamps left. There are a few that I still have in my collection, and I hang on to those because I love them. These 3 stamps are some of the stamps I've had in my collection for a while. I know one of them is from Hampton Art, but the other 2 didn't have any labels. But I will try to find those for you on the internet so I could at least tell you who makes these particular stamps. I really love them because they're a little bit abstract, and I think they make great cards for mixed media designs. I wanted the stamps to be part of the background, so I made sure to stamp the images prior to adding any other type of mixed media product, because once I start adding texture paste and some colors, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get a clear, crisp image. Now the texture paste that I'm working with is transparent matte, and it's translucent. And what that means is you're still going to be able to see the words through the texture paste once it dries. Now there are other types of texture paste that are not transparent, and when that paste dries you won't be able to see the background image. But for this I wanted to just create some texture and some more interest. I didn't really want it to cover up my background. I knew I was going to be coming in with some vintage collage medium to color up the texture paste, and that was going to be enough color for me while still being able to see the background. Now this collage medium is from Tim Holtz, and it's the vintage collage medium. It also comes in matte, but I knew I wanted to add some color to this card because the tissue paper was a little bit too white for me. I am creating a vintage inspired card, so I wanted to have some of those brown tones. Now the collage medium not only works to give it some of those brown tones, but it also works as an adhesive. And it works great for adhering ephemera as well as creating layered cards. It is one of the staples in my craft room, and I highly recommend it. Now, while the vintage collage medium adds some wonderful brown tones, I still wanted to add some more distinct smudges, so I did come in with my distress crayon to add a little bit more distress and imperfections. That's really the best word I can come up with, because all I'm doing at this point is just smearing some of the distress crayon into my card and creating a more distressed look. Once I've got more coloring, I am coming in with the vintage collage medium to help smear that crayon. Now I couldn't resist adding some red color to those lips. They just stood out for me, and I thought just adding some red lipstick just really finished off the card. And it really does stand out. It is intended to be a vintage card, but I really think that the red gives it a little bit more pop. The word band that I'm adding is from the Tim Holtz collection, and it reads, "Encourage your hopes, not your fears." And I think it's a great addition to the card. I love adding metal elements, not only for the aesthetic reason, but because it does also help to keep down the layers. When you have multiple layers, sometimes they do tend to not stick as well as you would like them to. So the addition of the metal band as well as the brads helps to secure some of these layers in place. As a final touch, I am using my distress tool to fray the edges of my cardstock, and I will be adding some walnut stained distress ink along the edges to finish off the card. Now, I don't know if you were keeping count, but we used a handful of mixed media products, and as you can see, we survived. I hope that my step-by-step process has alleviated some of your fears in creating mixed media cards, and that you will give it a try in 2017. As always, I will leave a list of all the products that I've used to create this card, along with the links to the stores. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you head out tonight. And as always, I love to see your comments, so feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the video. If you've liked the video, I would sure appreciate a thumbs up, and don't forget to share the video with your friends. Alright everybody, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.